Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for taking time out of their schedule to come tonight to talk about College Credit Plus. Nicole from Northwest State is going to give a general overview of College Credit Plus. Sam is here from Findlay. He'll talk a little bit about their requirements for those students who are taking calculus next year in Mr. Bottle's class or are interested in taking calculus next year. And then I'll talk a little bit just in general about some College Credit Plus info. There's a new bill going through. We'll find more out about it in about a month. But I wanted to touch base about a little bit of a couple pieces that are a part of that. So we'll get this going, and I'll have Nicole can go ahead and get started.
All right, good evening. You have to forgive me if it's a little bit iffy. I kind of got thrown into it. We have two other CCP nights, so this isn't normally my duty, but welcome. So what is College Credit Plus? College Credit Plus is Ohio's dual credit program where students earn high school and college credit at the same time. Students enroll in college courses and adhere to the requirements of the college. Students can participate in grades 7 through 12. They must complete an assessment exam to determine their eligibility for College Credit Plus. They may apply to any public or private participating college and may apply to multiple institutions. They may choose from a variety of college level courses as determined by their placement testing, and they must be Ohio residents. They can earn credit to satisfy both high school and college credit. 3 credit hours at the college level equals 1 high school unit. They must successfully complete the courses in order to earn that credit. They may take classes in the summer, fall, and spring. I know in the past it had only been the fall and spring. Last year they brought the summer in to be added to that also. They may take courses at the high school, on college campus, or online. So how can I participate? Step 1, students can be eligible for College Credit Plus participation based on their exam scores that we had talked about previously. The assessments examples are the ACT, SAT, AccuPlacer, and then ALEX, PlaceU, and MapleSoft. Each college and university has different exam requirements, so these tests may be just a few examples of the ones that are offered. Student scores must indicate that they are ready for the college level courses in at least one subject area. College and universities will review the students' scores using statewide standards. If a student's score is not college level, other conditions may be considered depending on their exam scores. They just started with having a conditional eligibility range based upon the state's grading scale. As long as you have a GPA of a 3.0 and a recommendation letter or form from your guidance counselor or principal, they will consider that also. Step 2, students must apply for admissions. Contact the college to learn about their processes, paperwork, and deadlines. Colleges have the final decision on the student's admission. So that conditional eligibility, that's kind of what that entails. If the student is considered eligible and has been admitted to the college, then the college will discuss the course options with the student. What courses can the student take? College advisors will help students know which courses they can take based on their assessment scores and their course prerequisites. Anne, who is down here with me, if you take classes at Northwest State, she will be your advisor. Courses can satisfy high school graduate requirements. School counselors can help students understand the requirements and the course substitutions. Schools might have additional requirements in addition to the state minimums. Courses must be college level and non-remedial, and courses must be non-religious. Now, if it is a humanities course, that's going to be completely separate. So you can take a world religions class as long as it's not specified as a religious course. Grades. College Credit Plus grades earned in the college credit course is the same grade that will be on your high school transcript. So if you receive a C in the college course, it will show on your high school transcript. Grades will be factored into the high school and college GPA. So not only does that affect your high school GPA, it also affects your college GPA. If high schools use a weighted grade scale for advanced placement, international baccalaureate, or honors courses in a subject area, then the College Credit Plus courses in that subject area will be weighted the same scale. I don't know if you guys do that at all.
We do not weight classes.
So students may take College Credit Plus courses in subject areas that will satisfy graduation requirements. And students must complete end of course exams for English, math, and science. So you still have to do that end of the year assessment. How many classes can the student take? Students may be enrolled in up to 30 credit hours, including high school only courses. So 30 minus the high school credits times 3 equals the maximum college credit hours. The maximum number of credits allowable to take during the program is 120. I know that sounds like a lot, but when you're dealing with 3 credit hours per class, it kind of adds up quickly. If a student enrolls in more than 30 credit hours, the school will discuss with the students whether to drop the course or they have the choice to pay for it out of pocket. If a student enrolls in more than 30 credit hours and pays for the course, the student and the family will assume the cost of the course credits and the books at the college standard rates. Tests. High school tests are, what is the difference between high school and college? High school tests are sometimes given weekly or at the end of the chapter. College tests are given fewer in number, covering more material. So they're going to be a larger span of information. Study time. High school requires homework ranges between 1 to 3 hours per day. College, the standard rule of 2 to 3 hours of homework for every hour spent in class. So if you spend 3 to 5 hours per day. Knowledge acquisition. High school information provided mostly in class, and out-of-class research is minimal. College, the coursework is generally required more independent thinking, longer writing assignments, and out-of-class research. And if you take online courses, that's going to like double. Grades, high school, numerous quizzes, tests. I don't know where that repeated itself, sorry. The parent role. High school, parents are strong advocates working closely with teachers and counselors. The college, the parent serves as the mentor and support for the student. The college views the student as an independent decision maker. The Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, so FERPA, protects the student's education records. They can fill out a FERPA form, letting the parents access that information, but that's something that has to be completely done on their end. What are the benefits of participating? Students can earn high school and college credits at the same time. Students can get a head start on college degree or certificates. Students can experience college early to understand the expectations of college life. Students can also save on tuition and taxes. What are the consequences of underperforming? If a student fails or withdraws too late from a college course, the district can seek reimbursement of the tuition from the student and their family. The grades that students earn are on the college transcript forever. If a student performs poorly, they may be placed on academic probation or dismissal by the college. If students fail or withdraw often, future financial aid may be impacted. What are the expenses for College Credit Plus? At a public college or university, no cost to the students or family for tuition, required fees, and books. At a private college or university, a small cost per credit hour may be charged. Some optional expenses are the responsibility of the student and the family. For example, parking and transportation. What are the supportive services for students? High school counselors continue to provide assistance for all College Credit Plus students. College advisors provide course selection assistance. and colleges must provide the same supports to the College Credit Plus students as they do in other students. So Northwest State offers free tutoring to any of our students if they choose to take that. What about athletic eligibility? How many of you are athletes? Okay. Student athletes should confirm their school is an Ohio High School Athletic Association member and earn the OHSAA requirements. Know that summer term CCP courses may not be used to bring a student into compliance with the OHSAA requirements for interscholastic athletic participation. I obviously never participated in sports, so I can't say all those acronyms. I apologize. Certain general education and technical courses will transfer, especially from one public college to another public college. Students must check with colleges to confirm transferability, and students should check with transfercreditohio.gov for transfer information. What does it mean to be college ready? Being college ready is more than just being academically ready. Consider emotional and social transition and college expectations. Consider time management and organizational skills. So it's a lot more than just grades. College Credit Plus credits will be utilized in a calculation of financial aid. So if you get a certain amount of financial aid, sometimes these will be calculated into your financial aid to be utilized further on down the line with your education. What are the deadlines? April 1st. Students must complete and return to the school office the intent to participate form. Check the ACT and SAT dates. You'll want to test early to meet the admissions guidelines for the college or the university. Check each college's deadlines for admission. They're all different, and if your high school guidelines are different, you'll want to follow your high school guidelines. First, find out about assessment testing requirements. Summer semester deadline will be as early as classes usually start in May. And if you have any other questions, there is this ohiohighered.org/CCP website you can click on. They have some frequently asked questions that will answer some of the questions that you have tonight. Do you want me to go on through this?
Yeah.
Okay. So for Northwest State, we have a couple requirements for you. So for Northwest State, we offer online or on-campus, online, hybrid, and at high school classes. Our hybrid classes are half online and half face-to-face. So if you're interested in that, it kind of gives you both the best worlds. Our eligibility requirements are the same: 7th to 12th, attending public, community, or private or homeschool. Must first meet one state qualifying score to be eligible for the program. So they changed up the scores a little bit, so it's going to be a 5 in the writing, an 80 in the reading, or college level math and a 55 if you take the AccuPlacer, and that's what Northwest State offers. Students must meet the qualifying scores required by Northwest State and prerequisite and co-requisite requirements for the courses they're interested in taking. So for example, if you meet the standard for eligibility for the state of Ohio with the 5, our reading score for Northwest State is only 60, whereas the state is an 80. So that qualifies you to take Comp 1 through Northwest State. So how to apply? Submit your intent to participate. You'll apply online. If you are a current student taking CCP courses, you do not need to reapply. You can just jump to the registration. Complete the consent form and submit an official high school transcript. Take the AccuPlacer or submit your ACT or Compass scores. So that kind of breaks it down here with the application and the ACT breakdown between summer, fall, and spring. Again, I'll reiterate that your high school may have different deadlines for these. Please refer to and follow your high school's deadlines versus ours if they're earlier. Summer classes, like I said, this is kind of newer. So they're either 8 or 12-week sessions. The same amount of material is covered in the sessions as would be in a 6-week term, so you got to realize that they're going to be a lot more condensed. 8 8-week terms go from June 4th to July 27th, and the 12-week term goes from May 14th to July 27th. The summer schedule will be available on March 12th, along with our fall schedule. So again, the step-by-step review, so we're going to complete the intent to participate, the College Credit Plus application online if you're not a new student, and the CCP consent form. Schedule your AccuPlacer or submit your ACT scores. Complete the advising and orientation workshop, so it's just basically your orientation to the college. And then we also, if you're taking online classes, we'll have you do your online learning readiness assessment. We're going to have you meet with your high school guidance counselor to select your classes. Then once you meet with them and decide on what classes that you'd like to take, you'll meet with either Ann or I to select your classes and register. We are having a Discover Northwest State Day if you guys are interested, Saturday, March 24th, and that's in the packets that we have for you. And contact our office if you have any questions. You guys have any questions that I can answer?
All right. So my name is Sam Beining, and I'm actually a 6th-year physical therapy student at the University of Findlay. But I'm the graduate assistant for our College Credit Plus program at Findlay. So to just briefly describe, more talking about the calculus class if you're interested in taking it here. The way it works is our requirements for all of our CCP students at Findlay is at least a 2.5 GPA at the high school, as well as either an ACT, SAT, or AccuPlacer score. If you grabbed one of the sheets on your way in, it has all our requirements on it. If not, feel free to grab one on the way out. Don't feel like you have to jot all this down. But we're looking for a 20 on the ACT, a 950 on the SAT, which do you guys really use the SAT? And then we also do the AccuPlacer test. So if you don't know what the AccuPlacer is, basically it's just a test we use for college placement in place of like the ACT. So especially for like the younger students that aren't necessarily ready to take the ACT, we offer it that way. And you can kind of split it up into different tests. So there's like a reading AccuPlacer, there's a math AccuPlacer. If somebody wanted to take chemistry at Findlay, we have a chemistry test. So specifically for calculus, you have to take the AccuPlacer math test, and we offer that here at Wayne Trace, so you don't have to go anywhere to take that, and it's free for the students to take. So if you are going to take the AccuPlacer and you haven't already taken the ACT or SAT, you can also take the reading AccuPlacer when we come to test, and that will replace your ACT or SAT score. So students that want to take the calculus test, they all have to take math. If you don't have the ACT, you would also take the reading at that time to place into the university. As far as our application process goes, make sure you fill out your intent to participate form first, which did you give that to them already? Okay. So basically that is just saying that you're interested in taking CCP classes. That doesn't commit you to anything at all. It's just a form you have to fill out for the state. So if you have any interest in doing it at all, just fill it out tonight and get it done with, and then you don't have to worry about it later on, and it's not committing you to anything. Once you do that, then you'll actually apply to the University of Findlay. So our application is all online. You just go to our website, and kind of off to the right-hand side on the home page, there's a little button that says Apply Now. Just make sure you fill out the College Credit Plus application. It'll have like our graduate and undergrad applications on there as well. Just make sure you click on the one that says College Credit Plus. Once you've applied to the university, then you will send us in your transcripts and test scores, as well as taking the AccuPlacer test here. Our deadline for our application isn't until June 1st, but we want you to apply before you take the AccuPlacer test here. Which is, you said March 27th. So try to get your application in before that, just because we use your student ID as kind of like your code to get into the AccuPlacer test. So if you've already applied, we'll have that, and it'll just make the whole process a little bit easier. Then once you've taken the test, you'll fill out your course selection sheet. That basically just says you want to take calculus, Or if you see on our sheets, we call it Math 141. That's just our calculus class at Findlay. So you'll fill out that sheet, and then you, your parent or guardian, as well as your guidance counselor will sign that, basically saying you kind of understand the whole process of everything that's going on. Then once we get all your test scores, and if you meet the requirements, then you're good to go. We also offer online classes at Findlay, so if that's something you're interested in taking in addition to the calculus class, or if you're not taking the calculus class, by all means, you can still take the online courses. Basically, the process is the same. The only difference is any student that takes a class on Findlay's campus or online through us is required to come to the university just for like an orientation with our CCP advisor. So at that time is when you would pick up your books. They would sit down and help you kind of schedule your classes, get you your student ID, all that kinds of stuff. So one other thing I'll mention too is private schools are allowed to charge for our classes and our books. University of Findlay doesn't, so any classes you take through Findlay, you won't have any fees as far as books or the course itself. So other than that, if you have any questions about anything, I'm going to stick around afterwards. And if you didn't grab one of these sheets on the way in and you're interested in taking a class through us, be sure to grab one on your way out. All right, thank you.
All right, so those of you who dealt with me before know that I like lists, and I like, it doesn't look like it in my office, but I really like things organized. Uh-oh, is that going to go out on, does it work? Well, for heaven's sakes, there we go. So, I put a checklist together. So the very first page broke down what needs to happen for each of these two places, for each of these two colleges. The very first step is step 1, and that's the intent to participate. That's the bright pink sheet that's in your packet. If that pink sheet is not turned in to me by March 28th, then students are not eligible to take any college credit classes for the next school year. So it's very important that that pink sheet, if you're considering it, even if you're not sure that you're considering taking a college class, that gets turned into me. That's step number 1. Then I broke down what needs to happen if a student is planning on or considering taking Mr. Baumley's calculus class next year. That's step 2. So I went in and talked about the 2 parts that are there. First, you have to meet the requirements for the University of Findlay, like they were saying. Then you have to meet the requirements to take the class. And to do that, most of our kids take the AccuPlacer at this point. We only have a few students who have taken the ACT. So most of our students for calculus take both the reading and the math part of the AccuPlacer. And they are coming on March 27th to do that. Findlay and Northwest both come on Wayne Trace on our campus one time free of charge. You can retake it one additional time, but you have to go to their campus, and the cost is $20. It was $20. I'm assuming it's still $20, right around there. So for Findlay, first students have to do the intent to participate, then they have to apply, then they have to bring the course selection sheet to me by March 22nd. Most of our students take classes online through Northwest. That's not the only option. That just is the option that we are very familiar with here at Wayne Trace. We have a special room, our Digital Academy room, where our students who take College Credit Plus classes online at Northwest are assigned to go to that room during that time. Mr. Jerome is in there. He helps with the textbooks. He helps if they have technical questions to kind of lead them, like where to ask. Or sometimes it's just to come to me and we have to give Ann a call and say, hey, I don't know what to do. So with Northwest, again, they have the entry piece that you have to meet that requirement and able to be, to get entered into Northwest. And then there are the requirements for each course to meet. And those are typically met with our students through the AccuPlacer, and they're coming April 5th. all the paperwork needs to be due to be by March 22nd in order for students to take the Accuplacer at Wayne Trace. So that's kind of the key. In order for students to be able to take the Accuplacer at Wayne Trace, all of the paperwork needs to come to me. Now, students who are currently Northwest State students, if you're taking that class right now, the only thing I need from you is the pink paper. The pink paper. If you are currently taking a class through Northwest, but you want to take the calculus class through Mr. Bobley, then I need the pink paper, and you need to apply to Findlay, and you need to turn in their course selection sheet. So it's 2 different colleges, and they each have their own admission pieces. So I thought maybe that this checklist would help keep things organized so that you knew what was turned in. Because if you don't make those deadlines, then you're not able to take the Accuplacer here at Wayne Trace, and you would have to go to their campus to take it. There is a bill going through in the middle of February. We'll know a little bit more. But there's a bill going through with a few changes for College Credit Plus. I'm not sure how that will all affect us. I do have a meeting in Findlay later in February, and hopefully by then we'll know more of the answers to that. There are 2 parts to it, and one part is going to say what classes students can take. That hasn't been the case. Students have been able to take whatever they've met the eligibility for, but now they're going to lump it. They're going to say level 1 courses and what those level 1 courses are, and then students have to take 15 hours of those level 1 courses before they can go on to other classes. The other part, the next part, is what I'm really curious to see how that comes out, because that is students being put on academic probation and academic warning. So not only is that the college part, but that also comes from us, which I'm not quite sure how that works. I don't think anybody knows. Anybody knows till it goes through. But students who do poorly in a class, even passing with a D, they can be put on academic probation or academic warning. In the past, students have been able to retake a class if they failed it and pay the College Credit Plus cost. The way I read the rules that's going through is that if a student fails a class, they cannot retake it, at least within a year. And then again, depending if they're in that probation or warning piece. That's probably the biggest concern that I have. Our students generally do pretty well in our College Credit Plus classes. We have had some students who have had a few issues, and some of those issues are technical, not necessarily academic, because our kids take the classes online through Northwest. Sometimes there are professors who have 2 calendars, a calendar and 2 different sites. So they might have one calendar for homework assignments and one calendar for tests or quizzes. And if you miss one of those calendars, you can't go back to them and say, I didn't know that I had to do that. They're automatic zeros, and we've had students who have failed because of that. We also have had some teachers that require students to submit papers on 2 different sites. They've had to submit them on the college site, and they've had to submit them on like turnitin.com, and one goes through and one doesn't. And I had a young man in my office who was showing me it wasn't going through, but I didn't know. So, we called and talked to the teacher, and he shut it down, and it was lost, and he got a 0. So sometimes those grades are not reflective of the academic, but of that technical piece. So, and that would be anywhere students go when you're taking classes online. It is a college course, and those deadlines are very important. So what I tell students is if you want to take a class through College Credit Plus and you meet all of the requirements and you're academically ready, that is awesome. But you also need to make sure that you are mentally ready and that you are vested in your success. It takes a lot of time to make sure that you have all of the teacher requirements. It means reading the syllabus. A lot of kids come back and say, well, it said it in the syllabus. I had to turn it in 2 spots, but I didn't know that. I am a sounding board and I can ask questions, but it is really between the student and the professor. So what I encourage students is to make sure that you are prepared to put the time in to take the college courses. What you don't want is to walk into college with a 1.0 GPA and you're on academic probation and you've never even stepped foot on the college campus. This is both high school and College Credit Plus. What's very nice about our calculus class is that we have Mr. Bomley teaching it. So that helps because the students are actually right there one-on-one asking questions and we don't have that technology piece in between. In Northwest, the professors are very good. They will answer any questions you have. Anne is brand new. In fact, she hasn't even started yet. So brand new. Sherry has been with us for the last couple years at Northwest, and she's been a very good advocate for our students, directing them on who to talk to. But really, the teachers have been very good. They're answering the students' questions, but they have those same expectations for our high school students in their college class as they do somebody sitting in their course that graduated from high school 2 or 3 years ago. So just to keep that in mind, I have no way to see kids' grades. We do have to ask it at third quarter if they're passing or not passing for academic eligibility. Otherwise, I don't see the grades until I get the transcripts from the college at the end. So that's my bit. I am not a college advisor, but I do talk to kids about what classes to take. I talk a lot about common sense classes that transfer, so that when they're taking a class that it is highly likely that where they're going will accept that for a credit. I can only speak in general terms. All of the colleges now have somebody in charge of College Credit Plus, at least in Ohio. All the colleges in Ohio and the Northeast Indiana people. There's somebody there that you're adamant that you're going to go to Ohio Wesleyan. Give Ohio Wesleyan a call and say, hey, I'm thinking about taking these classes. Is that something you commonly accept or not? And they let you know. They're very good about it. State school to state school is very easy. So Northwest to Ohio State or Northwest to Bowling Green in Ohio, Northwest to Ohio State, those are fairly easy transfers. Gets a little bit more complicated when it's a private school. Because they don't have to accept them. State schools have to accept them from each other. Our colleges have been very good about accepting the calculus. I think it's a pretty easily transferable one, depending on the major they're going into. If they're going to be an engineer, sometimes a college might want a specific calculus class based specifically on that major. So they won't accept that as their calculus class, but they accept it as an elective. So I talk to kids a lot about electives. A lot of our kids take Composition 1 and Composition 2 through Northwest. Those are extensive writing classes. Our kids do pretty good in those, and Northwest does have tutoring available online, so kids can write their paper and submit it to the writing lab, and the writing lab can critique it and send it back, which is very nice. But kids have to be very organized because you've got to be able to do that at least a week ahead before it's due, so that there's time for that transition between the two. So, step number 1, that intent to participate is very important. I have it due as March 28th instead of April 1st because we are not in school on March 28th. Or on April 1st. So March 28th is our last day in session before spring break, before that April 1st deadline. So that piece is due. By March 22nd, if students are planning on taking the AccuPlacer either for Findlay or for Northwest, or some people will be doing both, if you're doing both, all of the paperwork needs to be turned in by March 22nd. So the intent to participate needs to be turned in. The students need to apply to either Findlay or Northwest, and then the paperwork, there's a piece of paper for each of them that go along with that. And when they turn that into me, that's my cue that they have applied, done that application piece. If they don't do that application piece, they cannot walk in and take the AccuPlacer because they have to have that student ID number piece. Questions? Anybody have any questions? I should do a dance routine or something to make it a little bit more exciting.
If they're
Yeah.
currently in classes for Northwest State, do they have to take the AccuPlacer again for next year?
That's a great question. So if they're in Northwest right now, do they have to retake the AccuPlacer? And the answer is only if they want to take a class and they haven't met that score. So sometimes we have a senior who wants to take college algebra or statistics or trigonometry, and they haven't met that math grade, that math requirement that they have to. So if you are currently taking College Credit Plus and you have met the minimum requirement, and I kind of mean that as if you've met the requirement to at least be able to take Comp 1, then you should be able to take that whole language piece. Math would be the one we would have to check. Good question. Any other questions? Anybody have any questions? Deadlines are very, very, very important. I drill that into students when it comes to College Credit Plus because there aren't any exceptions for late. So I always tell students to make sure you're well prepared. Make sure you're prepared ahead of time, because if you're sick, a college professor could say, well, you should have turned it in yesterday. Or you should have had it done and then you could have just uploaded it. So always be prepared so you know what's coming up ahead. That's a very important piece to CCP. Any other questions? Yes.
Have their past AccuPlacer scores on file so you know what they've scored and they're not sure what they know?
I do have their past AccuPlacer scores in a nice spreadsheet because I've had to keep track of them. So I do have those, yeah. Any other questions? Any questions specific to Northwest or Findlay? Right. Well, thank you very much for coming. There are some Northwest pamphlets up here. Some of the pieces might be a copy of what we have, but they have some other pieces. And then at the end of the table, sign-up table, Sam left some pieces for Findlay. So, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me at any time. Thank you.